I'm here really stressing the true costs of drama in the workplace and how you can ditch the drama using better mental processes. So with that, please join me in welcoming Simon to the stage. See, the whole job is not to change reality, but to get more skillful so that you can live happily in the current reality, and that's just a skill set. I also taught people that happiness is a choice. Suffering is optional. And at first I thought this is impossible, but then I remembered that engagement without accountability creates entitlement, and that happiness is not correlated to your circumstances, it's correlated to the amount of accountability you take for your circumstances. So I would just work on my team's accountability level. We got incredible engagement scores, nice save. Now this is an amazing opportunity that we have to recapture time and sanity. We went further, we asked what are the sources of drama? The number one source of drama, 30%, is ego. Gossiping, tattling, scorekeeping, that little narrator in your head that you believe who distorts your view on reality, but only always. In fact, when we went through and we looked at this, what we found is that traditional leadership methods like how to give feedback and role models and all the things that you're doing, like letting people vent and having an open door and being there for people, it actually fuels drama and fuels ego rather than decreases it. We actually are feeding this thing. It's growing, not decreasing, and it will kill our competitive advantage. You can't inspire another. You can't motivate another. The only thing that motivates another is reality, natural consequences, us to quit coddling them from their own results. I take people to Mexico hiking once a year, and we stay at this health spa, and people sign up for this course where they can stay at this wonderful place, and we hike 12 miles a day, and we do leadership stuff. And we've hiked about 8 miles, and I'm not tired, I'm exhilarated, I'm up on the mountain, and then I turn to lead the group on, and in 1 second, my ecstasy went to anxiety. I'm like, I love this job. I looked ahead, there's something squiggly on the path. I go, I hate this damn job. I can't believe they make me do this crap. See, my life changed when I thought the thought that that's a snake and wholeheartedly believed it without investigation. Without inquiry, I believed my own thinking, just like that. I go, that's a snake. And I get up there, and you know what that squiggly thing is? It's a rope off someone's saddlebag. What caused my stress? My reality or believing everything I think? So I want you to be really thinking about how to get beyond your ego and get back in the part of your brain in self-reflection that opens up the best in you. What are the top questions? What are you getting hit with out there?
Yeah, I think we do get hit with a lot throughout our sessions, and one of the big ones that keeps coming up, even though we got content out there on it, is this idea of venting. And in our sessions, we get through kind of the power of our stories and how they lead to our suffering, but then someone in the end always asks, but isn't some venting still healthy, or isn't it great to get it off our chest? And as we get into, we know that venting is the ego's way of avoiding self-reflection, and it leads to just a lot of chaos in the workplace.
So here's the deal about venting. Venting feels good. I get it. The ego just doesn't want to give it up. So people are like, please just let me have a good vent and then I'll move on. And I'm like, but venting isn't useful. Venting feels good, but so does crack cocaine, right? And it's not a sustainable lifestyle. So let's get to the bottom of this. Venting feels good, yes, but it's not productive, and it leads you farther away from solutions.
Definitely.
It gets you into the part of your brain that's all ego and is externally focused and is focused on my circumstances and my excuses and my reasons and how the world should change. But where your peace comes from is when you get self-reflective. And your brain cannot self-reflect and bend at the same time. It's binary. It's like a toggle switch. You're in your lowest self, venting, or your highest self, self-reflection. And you've got to bypass the ego. So self-reflection is the foundation of accountability. Accountability is death to the ego. And venting is the ego's way of avoiding accountability and self-reflection. So let's take a look at this. Most of what you're venting about never even happens. And venting, actually, when you vent, you create neural pathways. And neural pathways are strange things because they need to be fed with the same behavior that created them. So once you form a neural pathway with venting, guess what? It's gonna itch.
Here it comes
and
again,
then you've got to vent more. And so it's really difficult because you'll find that venting just begets more venting. Venting is different than sharing feelings. So when I was a therapist, people would share a feeling. I am frustrated with Alex. Okay, and I would go, that's nice, that's perfect. Now you're done sharing a feeling. Then they'd want to go into venting because Alex never does what he needs to do and he does this crap on purpose. And I know what he's thinking and he's just trying to make me look bad in front of the boss and he's not held accountable and I do everything right. Okay, all of that after I'm frustrated with Alex because he didn't give me what I wanted
is the story.
Is the story you've made up. And that's where your suffering begins. I'm frustrated with Alex. He didn't give me the work I needed. What could I do next that would add value? I could go to Alex and say, Alex,
start a conversation.
How you coming on some of this work I really need? So the venting part is a story. And most people don't get this, that most of what they're venting about never even happened. Venting has to have a villain and a victim, and you're helpless. And folks, you are never the victim. You're never helpless. You don't have these villains, at least at work, that you think that you do. Try just 20 minutes where you have to be accountable to the truth. No venting. You have to go in and tell somebody the story in a neutral way. And here's what you're gonna notice. Not only are you more peaceful, but you just don't have a lot to talk about. You're gonna get really quiet and you're gonna get really reflective. And right after that, you're gonna get really happy and successful. When the going gets tough, most humans respond predictably. So I don't want you to think that I'm an angry person mad at human beings. I want you to know that I'm someone who understands humans. And when the going gets tough, when we're asked to deliver aggressive agendas with limited resources time and time again, if you're a human, the first thing you'll do is very predictable, you'll fantasize about quitting. Every one of you will fantasize that the grass is greener in another company. You'll fantasize about winning the lottery. You'll fantasize about taking a sabbatical or entering the gig economy where you're your own boss. Some of you fantasize about being the Walmart greeter guy because that job looks easy. Gallup says that 71% of Americans quit their jobs every single day. 71%. Problem is they keep coming to work and getting a paycheck. The average percentage of people actively or passively disengaged in the workplace is 71%. People step down, people quit rather than stepping up. Stepping down doesn't feel good. We crave impact. So when we do step down, our ego comes in and helps us feel better by justifying why we had to. When you go home at the end of the day, and somebody says, how was your day? Or you don't have somebody, you have a black lab, and they go, how was your day, right? Not one of us goes, it was awesome. I just really slacked off, did very little, erased emails 30 at a time without reading them. I feel great, says no one. We crave impact. We want to make a difference. But we're not understanding necessarily how that works. So when we step down, we do a behavior called BMW driving, which is bitching, moaning, and whining about why we had to. That's what BMW driving stands for. So in the meeting, we're with somebody and they go, you guys, we're gonna do more with less, and we're gonna really shake things up, and we're gonna have to restructure and make some moves, and we're gonna have to have people doing different things at different times, and we're gonna throw a bunch of change in here. And in the meeting, most of us are like, absolutely, I'm all in. This will be a gold star on my electronic resume. I love this place. And then the meeting after the meeting, in the cubes and the parking lot and the beer tents, we have the meeting after the meeting where we go, you know what? This is absolutely the stupidest idea I've ever heard of. Obviously, no one's checked this out. And we BMW drive about how it's impossible to get things done. And then we go looking for reasons why it can't be done rather than putting our energy into focusing on how it could be done. And we start to look at reality and we find our answer. None of this can be done because we don't have enough people, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough communication, we don't have enough vision, there aren't high enough standards, not everybody's held to the same standard. We've got leaders that are inconsistent, we weren't communicated with, sometimes we don't find out until the last minute, most of the time I'm not consulted. Anybody have a bit of a list that if only reality were completely different, I would be a rock star? See, the problem with this is that the only value you add as a human being is in imperfect circumstances. If things were perfect, we'd just Amazon.com it. We wouldn't need you. And yet when things are imperfect, we really start to complain. And here's what happens is we go to find someone that can help us, and we go, here's all of our reality, it's just really wrong, and I need a different boss, I need a different job, and I need more communication and more money and more teamwork, and I need a different IT system, and I need, here's my list of terroristic demands that I need. And it never dawns on us that it's not about reality. What are the odds of somebody being able to change reality anytime soon over the course of the next month or two? Should we just call it zero? Which then gives all of us gas for our BMWs and more justification on, if nobody else is going to care, I'm not going to care. I cannot tell you the number of people who came to me unhappy. When I asked them why they were unhappy, they told me about their circumstances as a therapist. They said, well, you don't understand. My husband doesn't do what I want him to do, and I don't like my boss and my job, and the roles aren't clear, and there's just really bad communication, and I don't have enough money, and I need to live someplace different, and I need different in-laws, and I'm like, wow, odds of you being happy anytime soon are low, because your happiness isn't correlated to your circumstances, it's correlated to the amount of accountability you take for your circumstances. So as a leader, when people come to me wanting their circumstances different, I do something very bold. I instead work to call them to greatness with a question like, what would great look like? So that they can move to a higher level of consciousness, they can operate at a higher level of frequency, so that they can impact their reality from a whole different mindset and a whole different place. Helping people focus on how we could rather than why we can't. Most leaders roll something out and they go, I'm so sorry to have to ask you this, but we had a regulation change, and so we need to work differently, and I know it's going to be a bummer, and I know you don't have time, and I know this is going to be hard, and it's a ridiculous regulation, and I'm really sorry we have to do it, but if out of the goodness of your heart you can do the best you can, I'd appreciate it. And I reinforce that it probably can't be done. As a leader who's operating under a new mindset, you say, here's the regulation that's changed. I'm going to explain it to you, and I want us all focused on how we can make this change and have it be least disruptive to the business. What's your idea? What's your idea? What's your idea? And it's moving energy. See, leaders don't manage people, they manage energy. They manage energy away from why we can't to how we could. They unlock innovation. There are many, many allegations flying today from employees about past bosses. And they reminded me of one of the things I was accused of that I'd totally forgotten about. They reminded me that after about 3 weeks of working for me, they both came to me and said, Sai, you play favorites. And they were shocked by my response because I actually said, you know what? Yes, I do. Do you want to be one? And they were taken aback because they hadn't run into a boss before that played favorites. But folks, I play favorites. I don't play favorites on what should be illegal and hopefully still immoral reasons, like the color of your skin or where you got your education or who you love or who you choose to worship or spend time with. But I do play favorites on how accountable you are and how willing you are to say yes to what's next and to say yes to the organization. I play favorites based on your accountability levels and your adaptability levels, and I make no apologies for it. I play favorites, and you know why? The marketplace favorites, our customers play favorites. This is a competitive game, and if leaders, we don't play favorites, and our customers are playing favorites, we're not going to be there with the competitive advantage that we've promised. So I'm here to blow away some of your most deeply held beliefs like leaders shouldn't play favorites. Well, you know what? It's fine to play favorites. In fact, I would highly recommend it. So it was the best accusation I've had in a long time. Sai, you play favorites. Why, yes, I do. Would you like to be one? This is the part of the show that I take questions from viewers. So today I've chosen a comment from Mindy L. She writes, Sai, I have one staff member who totally runs the show and controls everything. Since I came into a managing position above them, I'm trying hard to change things, but it's hard because they won't cooperate. My response to you is work with the willing. Now, most of the time in leadership, we're asking people to get everybody on board and to motivate others and get everyone bought in. And here's the reality, is that you can only work with the willing. And if you're not working with the willing, you'll be spending far too much time bargaining, cajoling, begging people for their buy-in, which should be their choice, their gift. It's the starting point. Otherwise, game over. I think a story might help. Some of you know that I'm the mother of 8 sons. I have 4 stepsons and 4 of my own. And we live on a lake. And each spring, we make the big announcement that the boat is in the water. It's wakeboarding time. And my kids know the drill. They know if you want to go wakeboarding, you've got about 15 minutes to get downstairs, get in the boat, sunscreen, water bottles, wetsuit if it's springtime and still chilly, and then we leave. I will take whoever's in the boat when it's time to go. I was off my game this last year, and one of my kids was in the kitchen when the other 7 were in the boat, and I needed to be down there with them. And instead, I'm entertaining a conversation with the resistor. Mom, how long are we going to be out? If I get a better option, will you bring me back in? Can we listen to my playlist? Can we eat the restaurant I want to eat in? All of these requests and bargaining to make sure that I was giving him everything he needed to be able to sign up and come with us. And as I looked out the window, there were 7 willing people sitting in the boat, steaming because their wetsuits weren't yet wet. And I was in the kitchen with the most resistant, and I had to apologize. I said, you know what? I am misleading you right now. I shouldn't be giving this any time and attention. I'll be down with the willing. And I went, and we left. I got a phone call from that son who said, where are you? I said, oh my gosh, we're in the boat wakeboarding. Where are you? He said, well, I'm in the kitchen. I'm like, well, it's gonna be so hard to wakeboard there. There's no water, there's no boat. And he was so bummed. And he had a natural consequence. He got left behind. Now, not all of your resistant folks will step in the boat just because you quit enabling them. But I tell you what, if they don't or if they do, it's their choice. But where you're given time and energy and recognition and reward are to the people who are in it to win it. So work with the willing and stop worrying about the resistor.